I'm going to be doing some more videos, probably at least 4 more about Dave Rosenthal. He was that time period of my life. I've been trying to think how important, to really how important it was and how memorable that time period was for me. It's like it was like I was in, you're kind of like in your prime of your life. I met him when I think, was 38 years old, and was with him for about 2.5 years. And I met him in, like I said before, 1991, and the end of the year, first weekend of November, and then we broke up around probably by the end of spring of 1994. Anyway, it's like we did a lot together, and it's like we spent a lot of time together. I just wanted to go over a few things, just basic stuff about him. I think he was about 5'10", and he had a slim build. He had hazel eyes. He had, sort of light brownish hair, and it was, he always had like sort of a military haircut. I don't even know if he ever had anything other than a military haircut, throughout his life. He was probably a little bit longer when he was in school and everything, but, and it was light brown, and it was probably just starting to get gray, maybe a few gray hairs. And he had a slim build. He was I would say he had to stay kind of athletic because he had to stay in shape because he was in the National Guard. He was still in the National Guard when I was with him. So that's him physically. He had, I've studied a lot about, in recent years about personality types, the 16 personality types. It's called the Myers-Briggs personality. Anyway, it's like, I wasn't into it then. It's like I didn't know anything about personality types. I have an INTJ personality, which is really rare, especially for a woman. And if I had to guess, I would say that he had the same personality type. Like I said, it's rare, it's like in both men and women, but especially in women. But that being said, it's like, it's like I kind of wish I knew that back then. But, if I look at all the boyfriends, and if I had to really take a good logical guess, looking at him, thinking about his personality and how he was back then, it's like I would almost bet that he was the same, the INTJ personality. And that was Mr. Gray Cat giving his commentary. Let's see. I'm just gonna spit out some oddball stuff. I remember him hating coconut. I don't know why he hated coconut, but he did. He did. He just didn't like the taste of it. He had a sick sense of humor. It's like one of the things. He really he liked wildlife, any kind of animals and so on. And he really loved ravens, among other animals. And one time for I don't know, it was his birthday. I think it was probably his birthday or something. I found a raven poster. It was a really nice poster. It was like kind of a square looking, and it was large. And I had it framed. And I gave that to him as a present, it was on his wall, and if I had to guess, it's probably still there. But he cherished that. Let's see. He would he was quite the adventurer. It's like I'll get into that as a separate topic, a different one. It's like the different adventures we had together. It's like, I think that kind of in a way defined his life, that he was an adventurer. He had a sister, and he had nephews. He had one younger sister and nephews, and I don't remember her name. It's like, and I think she had 3 sons. She lived out of state. I remember meeting her once, maybe twice. I don't quite recall it, but I definitely remember the one time she was visiting their parents, and we were over there at his parents' house. And she was quite different from him, his personality. Nice lady, it's like, and the kids were nice and everything. I felt bad for them that they had such a crappy grandparents, because Dave's father was fine. His mother was just this horrible bitch, just a horrible, nasty bitch. I don't know why he married her. I think he married her. She was, apparently when she was young, she was very attractive. and that's why they got married. But I know she was a terrible mom to both Dave and his sister, and his sister. She was probably worse on him than her. She was just one of these just awful people. It's kind of hard to describe her personality, but she was just a nasty piece of work. One time when I was over there, we were visiting them, and they lived in Sun City, which was kind of interesting because that's where my grandmother, my Oscar and my grandfather Oscar and his wife Joyce lived. Anyway, I remember being there at Christmas time one time, and she got upset because I took a shower. I was in the shower and I took the shower. It was too long of a shower, and so she was, apparently when I was in the shower, she was having hysterics and stuff, and Dave said, it's like, okay, we're out of here, we're gonna leave. Anyway, he, it's like and speaking of which, it's like, as far as Joyce, the one time when I was there at Christmas time, and I actually remember it was Christmas time because I remember going over to see my grandfather. Oscar had already passed away. He passed away, I think, in '84, and he, in the early '80s anyway. And then she was still living at the house, and we went over there on Christmas Day to visit her. We knocked on the door. She didn't know we were coming or anything, and it was good to see her. It was kind of sad because she had dementia, and she was living there by herself. She remembered me, but she how people with dementia, they keep repeating themselves and stuff. But we stayed for a while, and I said, it's like, and we, it's like, and I said, said goodbye, goodbye to her. And that was actually probably the last time I saw her. Anyway, that was sad. It's like, Dave would mail me cards and notes and notes and letters over the years. Not when I was with him, and then even afterwards, we kept in touch. The nice thing was that we kept in touch for. I didn't hear from him that often. It's like once in a while I'd get an email, once in a great while I'd get a phone call, and we'd talk and stuff. So we kept up with each other. He continued sending me like a birthday card and stuff when, after, even some years after we had split up, because I still cared about him. He was a good man and stuff, but he would do that, and he'd send it to my P.O. box. I had a P.O. box in Van Nuys, so it's like, and let's see. How we did meet was he was in MENSA. That's actually how we really did it. It's like I was never actually a member of MENSA. However, I hung out with MENSA people and would go to the meetings and stuff. And actually, the event that I went to that was in Ridgecrest, I had never been there before. It was going to be it was all about the petroglyphs. It's like we would never have met had not been for petroglyphs, and it's like we. It's like we met at one of the functions, at the beginning function. It's like I met him briefly, and then that's how it's like how we met and stuff. So I spent the weekend at a motel there. That's how we met. And then let's see. I mentioned about his mom and dad stuff. He was never really close, for some reason, never close to his sister either. I don't, didn't have a close relationship with him and with her, and I'm not sure why. She had a very different personality than him. It's like, and so maybe that's why. I'm not sure, but it's like they didn't. And he was not close to his mom and dad either, so didn't have a close relationship. And he was also previously married. He had been married, I think he was married for a good 20 years. He got married when he was young, like a lot of people, around our age, they get married young. And it just, it's like sometimes you just don't pick out quite, I met his wife a couple times, really nice, his ex-wife, really nice lady. But yeah, I could see why, it didn't work out because we were very different, people. So, but that's what happens when you get married, like back then, it's like you get married and it's like we were both good people, but we were really not a good match for each other. So, but I know he's married. It's like, so anyway, I'm going to wind this up now and talk about other stuff later about him. And I miss him every day.